Man, as soon as I hit the record button, the quality just went down the tube. I mean, you're like pixelated over there.
Oh my goodness. I wonder if
Abs-
it's my.
no, it's
All
not
right,
you. It's not you. It's probably the system.
the
The record.
system.
'Cause as soon as I hit it, it kind of flickers the screen. Boom! It was like,
Boom.
all
Okay,
right, let's go.
let's go. All right. Hello, everyone. It's Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday because I'm exhausted. Exhausted. I know Nadeem is tired too, but hello, everyone. Welcome to Chat with Mac. We're happy to have you. Welcome to our new viewers. We hope that you like what we're going to talk about today. Nadeem, how's it going, sir?
Oh, going great. I might be tired, but I'm having a great time.
Yeah, you
I
are. You're
enjoy
always
doing
having a
this.
great time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm just talking to all kinds of people, and a lot of times it's just just chat with other IT guys or business owners, just what's happening.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. This earlier today I was having a conversation, and the guys were like, hey, 2020 has been kind of slow, but man, 2021 has kind of kicked it up a notch. And I'm like, yeah, that's all that pent up demand. All the things that slowed down, well, they're gonna go somewhere.
Yeah.
So hopefully things will get better.
Yeah.
And I know Microsoft's working real hard to get into some new spaces, some new verticals, really. But yeah, so what are we going to talk about today, Mac?
Well, it's funny you should mention that. We're actually going to talk about some of the quote unquote innovations, if you will, that Microsoft is trying to put out there, specifically a version of Windows 10X that is supposed to compete with Chrome. And I know you and I were talking, Windows has been trying so hard to crack that egg or crack that nut as it pertains to the whole Chrome OS. And I wanted you to kind of talk about that. 'Cause I know this is in your wheelhouse, but compared to the uh, Chrome OS and the what else is there? iOS and how this will stack up if it stacks up at all.
Right. So a couple of things. The first thing is Microsoft has been trying to crack that egg for a while now.
Yeah.
You remember Windows Phone? Yeah.
I had one. I actually had a Windows Phone. Actually,
Well,
to be honest with you, I kind of liked it. It was the fact that I could actually get everything that I needed because of course when you work for a company, all the companies use you know Outlook, and I didn't have to do a lot of setup in order to get my emails and things of that nature. So it was okay. It wasn't the greatest, but it was usable.
yeah. So, the problem still remains a problem, and that was not a lot of third parties were developing applications for the Windows
That is
Phone.
true. That is true.
And
Yep.
and that's the chicken and egg problem, because until you reach that critical mass, you have enough devices in people's hands. Developers don't want to create an application specific for that device.
True.
And if the developers don't create an application specific for that device, people don't want to buy that device. So it's like you can't get anywhere with that. And Microsoft's been trying to do that. I remember, back in the day, I think it was WWDC that was in Houston that one time, and Bama was up on stage, and he was like, "Oh no, those stupid iPhones, and those are just toys. They're useless. They're not in the enterprise space. Blah 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 blah." And now see where that is.
Yeah.
um, so the problem is, and this is a problem with any device out there. I mean, any new entry into the market space is going to be, how do you get developers to develop applications for your device? And that, I think,
Yeah.
is going to be, even for Windows, Windows 10X is going to be the same thing. So they have the Windows on ARM now, right? So they have that on the Surface Pro X. And but the problem still remains. Certain applications, even for Microsoft, don't run on that device. so now if we go into Windows 10X, and it's gonna run probably some sort of a RISC based low power processor. It's not gonna run regular 64-bit Windows apps, the ones that run on Intel or x86 chipset. It's just not gonna happen. So the problem comes in, how do you get developers to develop applications for this? Now, some people might be thinking, oh no, that's overblown. You don't need apps. And the bottom line is you do. And that's been what really propelled Apple, specifically iOS, to that level, is because there are so many apps, and the apps just give you that better, more polished. It's got a better, more polished human interface, better than you can make in a browser. So that's the problem, and everybody has that problem, right? Even, Chromebooks have that problem. So there are limitations on what kind of apps you can install on Chromebooks, or be it Android, same issue. So let me just share my screen here. Let me show everybody what I'm talking about. So this is Windows 10X, Microsoft's answer to Chromebook, and this will be their answer to any other tablet / low power device. It's gonna try to compete with iPad. It's gonna try to compete with everything, and I don't know. I'm not. You can't corner the market by trying to do what other people are doing. You gotta do something new. You gotta do something different.
That's true.
And at this point, everything that they're doing, either they're doing what iOS is doing, Apple is doing, or they're doing what Google is doing with their Chrome or Android. They gotta think outside the box. Now I gotta give credit where it's due, and that is they did try to cut into some new devices, right? So they said they do have that dual screen device, which is clunky at best, but it's something new. And so it's one of those things where, yeah, they can make Windows look like Windows, but at the end of the day, it's a totally different operating system that requires its own apps. So are they trying to use the word Windows in its name just because of familiarity? And is that a good thing or a bad thing? Maybe it's not that good of a thing. People know about Windows, right?
That's true.
Now, if it was going to run all the apps that your regular x86 Windows runs, then great. Call it Windows. All your apps that run on your machines will run on this device. Great. But it doesn't. That's not the case. It's a totally different operating system that does not run your regular apps. It's just called Windows 10, and they put the word X on it. So I don't know where that's going to go. Now, one of the good things about Windows Mobile, or Windows in general, is the ability to have live tiles. Now that was something that was good that Microsoft did, and it's too bad that the OS itself didn't really get anywhere. But I think that was one of the things that if somebody else kind of copies, it might be a good thing for consumers, because you can then get access to information without actually opening the app.
I don't know if anybody else does. Funny, it's actually a good point. I don't know. Now I'm an Android user, and I'm over here looking at my Android like, do I have live tiles? Because I remember with the Windows Phone, I really like that, but I don't think, I could be wrong. I don't think you have.
No. I don't think anybody does live tiles. The only thing that OSs do out there right now is they'll give you a little alert icon with the number of alerts on there. And or you can create those little widgets on iOS now.
That is, yep.
But it's not the same as live tiles. Live tiles were so portable, and they had a lot of rich information in them. And that now it could be that the devices, the low power devices, just it just takes so much power to run those live tiles. That's why people are not implementing that. It could be that, I don't know, but the live tiles that we used to saw, well, the ones that we saw in the latest generation of Windows phones were pretty slick. I mean, they didn't seem slow. They
Yep.
ran okay.
Yep.
So I don't know, where this Windows 10X is going to go, but so there is Windows 10X that they're thinking about, that is being prototyped right now. But then also, then where is it going to leave Windows 10S? There is that. I'm just going to use the word simplified, but the S doesn't stand for simplified. But there is that Windows 10S out there, which is a little restricted to where it only runs modern apps. You can't run, your regular apps on there and all of that. But so where does it leave that? It's like, yeah, they have something called Windows, and now they're trying to fit that round peg into every hole they find. That's what it seems like. They got this peg. They're trying to fit it in every hole they can find. And I guess if you whack it hard enough, it might fit. But so yeah, I'm not sold on Windows 10X just yet. If it can bring the polish of iOS or even Android, they might get somewhere. But then how are they going to convince developers to create applications for it? Yeah.
So now, so let me, and without us veering off too far, the whole developing application. I know some people, they kind of look at their apps and they're like, oh, it's on there, but maybe you can give us a little bit of a high level understanding of what that entails, if you can, because you see it, and like you were saying, I can remember with my Windows phone within the Windows Store, the app offering was kind of lacking, as opposed to, I'm a OnePlus user. I'm a big OnePlus fan. Of course, with Android, you can get everything. Same with iOS. Why is it that within the Windows suite, that's just not something that is really taken off? Is it harder, or is it? Maybe you could help us understand why that is.
So, first of all, I don't think people saw my screen earlier, but I've kind of fixed that. So hopefully
Oh,
people
okay.
can see the screen now. So I wouldn't say it's harder. It's the difference between consumer and enterprise. So
Mm,
there, Microsoft has a lot of developers on the enterprise side of things. These are enterprise developers. They're going to create applications for CRM, or they're going to create SQL-based apps. Front ends for SQL databases. They're going to do that. But I think to succeed, you have to be on the consumer side of things, and that's where Microsoft will probably need to focus on a little bit, is the consumer side of things, and that's why iOS took off the way it took off. I mean, even Android, Android is basically catering to the consumer market. So you have to be on the consumer side of things uh, for it to work. I think you can't do it if it's just if all your developers are on the enterprise side, and when they develop an application for the enterprise, it's basically they're getting paid to develop that application. They're whatever company they work for, they get paid to develop that application. On the consumer side, if developers step into that, you don't get paid from a company to develop that application. You get paid from who owns that platform. Like if I'm developing an application that will run on iOS, then I'm making my money by selling that application through the App Store, and I'm getting paid by Apple, right? So
mm,
that's, they keep their share and they send me my money. So it's a little shift in the monetizing of the app. How do developers get paid? Microsoft traditionally has been more of a let third parties develop the apps and they can figure out how to monetize their stuff on our platform. Well, that doesn't work in the consumer space.
Mm,
So that I think that's what the problem is, and same goes for now. Google is actually coming from the consumer space towards the enterprise space, and that's the main platforms, right? So Google Cloud really started on the consumer side and is going towards the enterprise side. Microsoft started on the enterprise side and is going towards the consumer side. That happy medium is somewhere in the middle, and maybe Apple knows what that happy medium is, and they're already there. I don't know. Maybe that's why
right.
their devices are selling like hot cakes on anything. I mean, enterprises use it, consumers use it, everybody's using that. Um, so yeah, it's a hard nut to crack, especially the more time goes on, the harder it becomes, because the Apples of the world, all the developers are going to be developing for that platform, and the more time goes on, the more developers are developing their stuff, and they're gaining more
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
So and of course, that helps. The more developers you have, that helps them push out more devices, which attracts more developers, which helps push out more devices. So it's a loop. I mean, it's an upward spiral, not a downward spiral, right?
Downward. Right. Right.
so
Right.
so yeah, and I don't know what the answer is to that, but if it's look at Chromebooks. I mean, for what they are, you would think that they would have taken off by now, but I don't see that many Chromebooks out there. I mean, it's I don't see that many Chromebooks.
That's actually a very good point. Now that I think about it, I don't. I mean, I had a Chromebook, which it was okay. But if you were to ask me a reason why I don't have one now, I couldn't really give one to you. I just don't, and that I don't see a lot of other people with them either, for that
Yeah.
matter. Yeah,
And
that's a
it's
good
like,
point.
if we were recording this video, would you record it on a Chromebook? Would it work on a Chrome? I don't even know. I mean, I've never tried it, but it might. But like, if I go into Starbucks, most of the people are going to have some kind of a PC. Not a lot of people have Chromebooks. And those
That's a
who
good point.
can go with Chromebooks, they're going to be walking around with iPads. And it's like, well, if you can, if you need a really portable device, just go with the iPad.
That's a good point. That's actually a very good
And
point.
and and
I
that's
didn't think about.
that's the other part of the equation is uh, why and this is already happening, but why having a laptop slash tablet all in one is never going to work. It's like, so I've had a Surface Pro, and I've kind of tried to use it, but at the end of the day, I always go to my iPad. It's like, it's light,
Mm,
I don't have to worry about the charge. My apps,
yeah.
I know the apps that are on there. There's just a better interface. They're not like flaky apps. And then of course you have the glitches of Windows, switching between pointer interface and the touch interface. It's like, and it gets annoying after a while. And I tried it. I mean, I gave it my all. I tried it, and but like, if you're laying in bed, what are you going to grab, your iPad or your Surface Pro?
More than likely your iPad. If you're not
Yeah,
grabbing your phone, it's your iPad. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I think that space has been spoken for the foreseeable future. But that doesn't mean that companies need to stop trying. No, they need to keep trying. Like, that live tiles feature, man, that thing I think is awesome. But
Yeah.
I don't know. So I was the I was talking to somebody, and I remembered, there was this. I heard this story. So it was about doing the same things, but expecting different results. That doesn't work, right? So the story is, there was this guy, and this was a real guy, and he used to brush his teeth after every meal. he used to carry his little brush. He would be in the office, you drink some coffee, and he would go into the washroom, and he'll be brushing his teeth. And so, pretty soon everybody got to know, he's the toothbrush guy. Every time he eats something, he's got to brush his teeth. So one day, the owner of the company comes in, and people are just talking in little groups here and there, and he's like, what the hell's going on? So finally he asks, hey, what are you guys laughing about? People are like talking, giggling, laughing. It's like, oh, that guy Greg. And he's like, yeah. Oh, yeah, the one who brushes after every meal. Yeah, he got cavities.
Oh, whoa, boy.
so so it was like, what? How can that happen? So the owner, he after he stopped laughing, he called Greg into his office later that evening, and he was like, hey Greg, so I hear you got cavities. What's up, man? How did that happen? And his head just slumped down, and he was like, oh, I don't know. I do everything I can. I brush my teeth after every meal, and I've got not one but four cavities. And he was like,
Lord.
well, how can that be? He was like, I know. I didn't believe it. I told the guy to check it again. I told the dentist to check it again. It can't be. And he says, well, what do you think happened? The owner asked him, well, what do you think happened? And he was like, well, my dentist told me that we are creatures of habit. We do certain things a certain way. Even if we don't think about it, we keep doing them a certain way. So when you brush your teeth, you use a certain hand. You brush certain spots. You always brush certain spots, and you use the same hand. So the dentist told him, hey, switch hands. Then you'll get the other spots and it'll be fine. And so now the owner was really interested. So he was like, so you switched hands, but you still got cavities? He was like, no, I switched hands, but it didn't feel right. So I stopped doing it and I used my old hand again. And that's why I have cavities. So the
Cavities.
moral of the
Mm,
story is
wow.
change is hard, but
Yeah.
but you got to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing,
That's good.
and it clicked with me. In IT especially, we see like every time there's a new system or there's an update or something happens, there's always like an uptick in support tickets because people don't like change. And
Yeah.
that's the thing, hey, if you don't want cavities, you better, wholeheartedly accept that change.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a great analogy, especially as it pertains to IT, because, and you see this in the space all the time where people are so used to a certain uh, type of service or amount of service, even if they're hemorrhaging money or even if they're not even getting the best service. But because of the fear of the change, they're
People
so
don't want to change.
apprehensive.
People
They
don't
don't
want
want
to
to
change.
change, even if it's for their benefit. So that's such a great analogy in that
Yeah,
space.
and we see it all the time. You'll talk to a prospect and they'll be like, oh, we've been with so and so company for 10 years, and we're looking at our options. So you talk to them and and it's just like, okay, you're looking at options. So what are some of the pain points? And they're like, well, this is my pain, and this is, and then you do your estimating and everything, and then they'll come back and say, oh yeah, but that guy is like this much cheaper than you are, and it's like that's the problem. How can
That's the problem.
how can you keep using the same service and expecting different results? It's like
Yeah.
he's cheaper for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, it's the headache of the headaches every day is to get
Yeah.
people to understand that, yes, you're used to a service, but are you getting, the best that you can
Yeah.
get out of that?
Well,
Yeah,
so it's like you might be getting something that is okay, but wouldn't it be nice if you never had to deal with computer problems? It's like, you know, and here's another story. There was this one IT guy, and well, the owner of the company was talking about how their patch management is, and he was like, it's fine, it's great. And we were like, wow, okay, well, what's the process? How does it work? And he said, well, every now and then, yeah, there is some patch that will cause some machines to crash. So we might have a few users that can't get to work, but everybody goes through that. And we were like, no. He didn't know. He thought he thought downtime was acceptable and everybody had downtime. And it was like, that, so he just didn't have the information to make the right decision. But no, I just got sidetracked on that. I was like, we are creatures of habit. And that's the thing, especially with big companies like Microsoft. Change. You think change is hard for a human. Think about change for a company. It's even harder. And but with the new CEO now at the helm for a while, we are seeing that there is change in the company. They can still do a lot. I mean, there's a lot to do, but we can see the mentality changing, and it's going down from the top. So hopefully they can crack this egg about lower power devices. And when I say low power, I don't mean performance power. I mean low power consumption devices.
Yeah,
so
right.
like your
That's
handhelds and
good
stuff.
that you said that.
I want my Windows machine to run for 24 hours without having to worry about plugging in. I mean, I plug in my iPad like every, I don't know, 2 or 3 days, and it's like, why can't my friggin' Windows machine do that? How long have companies been making Windows machines? And it's like, if you need to put two damn processors in there, one low power processor, one high power processor. I mean, run the high power processor only when you need. I mean, how hard? It's not hard. Technology is there. It's like we are creatures of habit.
Habit.
That's what it is.
Wow. That's good. That's really good. That's good.
So, but anyway, so Mac, I'm gonna call it a day. I'm probably gonna head out a little early. Looks like
Yes,
rain,
sir.
and hopefully, you got anything planned for the weekend?
Man, this week I have been unusually tired. Usually I'm go go go, and the last 2 days I've been so tired. So my weekend is just watching cartoons and sleeping. That's pretty much all I'm gonna do.
Which cartoons?
Oh my goodness! Well, usually I watch this cartoon called Adventures. It's supposed to be a kid cartoon, but it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. And then actually, I am going to binge watch all the Star Wars from the
Oh
prequels
yeah.
all the way to the
That's a
last.
good idea. That's a great idea. I'll do the same. And then at the end, I'm gonna watch all of The Mandalorian.
Oh, the Mandalorian is awesome. I
Yeah.
love the Mandalorian. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been watching the Mandalorian, you need to watch it. It's so good.
so everybody out there, so that's what we're going to be doing over the weekend, is watching Star Wars and The Mandalorian. So yeah, I mean, it'll be a great weekend.
It will.
And other than that, I think, Mac, it's been a great week. It's been a hectic week, but there's just so many things going on. Oh, did you hear about the SwitchVox certificate expiring? So I don't know if you heard about that, but so that's happening, and that's happening like around well, not around, but on May 28th. So folks out there that are using the older SwitchVox, anything lower than 7.x version of SwitchVox, the SSL certificate chain, the whole chain is expiring. So phones are going to stop connecting to the PBX system on May 28th. So plan accordingly. There are several options here, so you can talk to your provider or whoever and figure out the options. But yeah, on May 28th, if your phone magically stops working and stops connecting to the PBX, that might be the reason. Just want to put that out there, some new info. And other than that, I think we'll call it a day, Mac.
Yes, sir. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, everyone, and have a great day. Be safe out there.
Bye.